Welcome to plzsoccer.com. I'm Kerry Pollock, joined here with Peter Martin. We'll be discussing Celtic's victory and the Champions League last night, and of course looking ahead to Rangers' clash with Manchester United this evening in the Europa League. Peter, let's start with Celtic then. What was your thoughts on the game overall?
Well, overall, I think Celtic got the job done. First half, really good. Strange situation, 3 goals chalked off. I think it was rightly so. But of course, a missed penalty, and you're thinking to yourself, is this going to be one of those nights? And then over and above that, the second half, Celtic were just poor. They looked disjointed. They looked as if they lacked the belief that they had in the first half, and they were very much on the front foot. And then, of course, you get the red card thrown in there as well. And there was a couple of big moments in the game. You have to credit Brendan Rodgers. He brings on Adamida. They get that little stroke of luck, which you need in European football. And a lot of Celtic fans were getting very nervous. So in the end, they'll say, who cares? It was an own goal. The ball's in the back of the net. Celtic get the points. And they are qualifying for the knockout stages, which is basically what Brendan Rodgers was brought back to Celtic to do. That's the key issue. The big moments that I'm talking about in the game are about big players, and Kasper Schmeichel produced a couple of top draw saves, which basically is the difference between Celtic really struggling to go to the last game at Villa Park to play Aston Villa. They got the job done in the end, and I think great credit to Brendan Rodgers, great credit to the players, and also the fans as well, who in the end will be delighted and now starting to look ahead to think, who are we going to get in this knockout stage, because it's still to be determined with one more game to play.
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of transfer news surrounding Celtic at the moment. Kyogo potentially on his way out, and potentially a return for Kieran Tierney.
Yeah, off the back of speculating about who they're going to play in a possible knockout, then they wake up to Kyogo could be on his way to Rennes, 10 million. It's certainly a surprise to more than a few people. I certainly think Kyogo's been a good player for Celtic. He scored goals. He can leave with his head held high if he does indeed head to France. But 10 million's good business by Celtic, and you can bet your bottom dollar, knowing that board as I do, they will have a replacement in place, ready, with Kyogo heading out the door. And of course, Kieran Tierney, it's the return of the prodigal son. This is like a soap opera that's just been dragging on and on. But I think there's still a couple of permutations. I expect him to be here this month. I expect Celtic to have done a deal, possibly 3 years, what I'm hearing, with a loan deal to the end of the season. I think he wants to be here now. The only thing that will stop that happening is quite simply if Arsenal and the moves that they've got doesn't give them sufficient cover. Then I think they might play hardball on it. But Kieran Tierney will still have to give and take with regards to money. Celtic might have to just push the boat out a wee bit. But when you think you've got a knockout game to play in the Champions League, it's fantastic. Kieran Tierney will want to be a part of it. There'll be new signings in there as well. The excitement is building for Celtic. They've done the job that they set out to do, which is get to the knockout stages, and that's great news, especially for our coefficient, and it could be boosted, of course, by Old Trafford.
Yes, that's it. Well, from one European competition to another, down in Manchester tonight, Rangers will take on Manchester United at Old Trafford. Blair Malloy and Patrick Mullen are down there for us. Blair, just tell us, you were at the press conference yesterday. What did both managers have to say coming into this tie?
Yes, Kerry. Well, both managers quite bullish in their press conferences yesterday. We started off heading out to Carrington yesterday morning, and I must say, what an impressive facility that is. Absolutely huge, sprawling parks all over the place. But we spoke to Ruben Amorim. He was joined by Harry Maguire in the morning. Ruben Amorim, of course, he's been under a bit of pressure given Manchester United's recent form. He was biting back at journalists who said that he was nervous. He said he's not nervous about Man United's current form. He's just frustrated. So he was a bit bullish in that. He also said he expects a physical game against Rangers this evening. We then crossed over to Philippe Clement at Old Trafford yesterday. He said of his own volition he could be missing 8 players from the starting 11 at Rangers. Of course, he'll be without guys like Yanis Hadji, who's been so important but not in the European squad. He was joined by the captain James Tavernier, who revealed he was a Leeds United fan and it would mean so much to him to get a win at Old Trafford this evening.
Yeah, the big question is why, oh why did James Tavernier say that? Because he's just going to get pelters for the entire game. Over and above that, Patrick, you've watched Manchester United regularly as well. they are poor, to say the least. The managers come out and slaughtered the players. Could it be the worst Manchester United team in history? I think I've seen a few dud Man United sides, and so have you. And of course, Rangers, it's a Jekyll and Hyde. You never know what you're going to get with them. Sometimes they can be poor domestically, and then they produce it in Europe.
Yeah, it seems to be two teams that are really similar domestically. It hasn't been their season. They maybe can perform on the one-off game, bringing out that big performance, but on the whole, it has been a disappointing season for Manchester United. You mentioned that comment he made, could this be the worst Manchester United team? Speaking in the press conference yesterday, he clarified those comments, saying he meant that in a figurative term. He took over from a manager, Erik ten Hag, and he's now losing more games. And to be on a run like this, that could be the worst Manchester United team. He understands he made a mistake. He got a bit hot up in the moment, and he knows he's a young manager trying to improve. But what he needs to improve tonight is this Manchester United team. He'll be demanding a huge improvement from his players. They've got to come out here and not concede the first goal. That's been the problem for Manchester United too many times this season. And once you do that, these Manchester United fans, they'll get on their backs and it becomes a really tricky night. So he'll be hoping for a nice and easy 3-0 victory, keep it comfortable and get these Manchester United fans back on board.
And just lastly, before we let you go, guys, you've been down there, the Rangers fans have headed down in their numbers. What's the atmosphere been like up until this point?
Well, Kerry, you can see behind us the weather's not really playing ball. I know there's a bit of a storm brewing up north, but equally it's been raining all day here, which put a little bit of a dampener on proceedings. But Rangers fans are starting to trickle in now, and the 3,500 that are going to be inside Manchester United's Old Trafford this evening. What an experience it's going to be. We were in the stadium yesterday, Patrick. It's quite an impressive arena.
Yeah, it's an incredible arena. I think the Rangers fans, they seem delighted. They've come down, they've been singing in force, but they've been packing out the pubs, I think it's fair to say, rather than any squares. We've still got 4 hours to go. They'll be coming down nice and early, making their voices heard, and we're all set for an absolute cracker here at Old Trafford later this afternoon.
Well, it's great to see you two guys. It's the first shift you've put in. I know you've tried to get the Hacienda opened up again so you two could go and party. So it's good to see that you're going to actually do a shift. And you've taken the jackets, the microphones and the PLZ brollies. Kerry, they've taken every bit of merchandise from the shop to make sure they're okay down there.
It's all there, isn't it, Peter? Well, Patrick said it himself. It's set up to be an absolute cracker this evening. Thanks to Blair, thanks to Patrick, thanks to Peter for joining me. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and for all the latest breaking headlines, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel.